Did they make
No,
contact?
no. It's pretty close, but this is going to be a drag race.
Right Look there. At this.
Moves him to win it. Carl Edwards bump and dump and run.
Here comes Gordon right up to the bumper again.
You hear that wheel spin, Benny?
Yeah, I did hear that wheel spin.
The bump and run.
There it is.
Gordon underneath to the lead. 2 laps to go.
Maine to really turn around. Made a Riley's cage up.
Yeah, welcome to the Bump and Run podcast. I'm your host, Michael DUI, joined by my two best friends, Matt, the Stat Man Reilly, and Eric, Daytona Ron. Hope you guys had a great weekend. Hope you guys had yourselves a Kyle Larson type of weekend. He was the big winner down at the Bass Pro Shops night race at Bristol. And what a night it was. Tempers were flaring. Side skirts were flared out from getting bumped into. And here on the Bump and Run, we're going to talk all about it. But if you're liking the show, make sure you like, share, subscribe, spread the word, tell all your friends. Hey, if you're listening to this podcast, I'm assuming you got some NASCAR buddies. Tell all your NASCAR buddies to give us a listen. Leave us a review on iTunes. Let's get those numbers jacked up. Let's spread the word. But first, how the hell are you guys doing? Matt, you were at a wedding this weekend. You didn't get to watch the race live. Were you able to avoid all the spoilers?
I finally was able to do it. I did what I told you guys I was going to do. Shut the phone off and just left it off until I got done watching the race. I wrapped up about 2 o'clock yesterday in the afternoon. So I had it off all night and day yesterday pretty much.
So were you able to easily get through it without a phone for the other stuff, the casual stuff? Did that throw you off at all?
Yeah, I mean, there was little things that popped up here and there. You know, you'd go to look something up and then, oh, that's right, I have my phone off. Or when I woke up, you know, in the hotel room on Sunday morning with no idea where I was because alcohol was coursing through my veins the night before. You know, you're confused, you don't know what time it is. You go to look at your phone to see what time it is. Oh, that's off.
Where am I?
Yeah. So it was an adjustment. Like I told you guys in a previous episode, you know, I am addicted, unfortunately, and not proud of it, but I'm addicted to my phone. So it was definitely a struggle, but worth it because I got to take in everything that happened in that race and, you know, with raw emotion, with no spoilers or anything. So I'm happy that I was able to do that.
Yeah, I always wanted to be like, oh, I'm going to do 30 days without my cell phone, but that's never going to happen. How about you, Eric? You usually aren't on your cell phone. Usually you leave it somewhere and you're not worried about it. But how was your weekend?
Yeah, 30 days, that's like a normal thing for me without a phone. That's common practice in my world. But the weekend was great. Friday night, went down to the local watering hole, doused his suds and grubs to watch the Xfinity Series race. And you know, after a couple, 2-3 Christmas liquors, couple mugs here and there.
Excuse me, Christmas liquor? What?
Yeah, Rumplemans. You know, little Christmas liquor.
Okay, it tastes like candy canes. I gotcha.
Yeah. You know, I ended up not seeing the end of the race.
No.
I just like I'm in the bar, you know, I'm shooting darts, I'm taking little kids' money, you know, winning, getting drinks.
Who let the little kids into the bar? Come on.
You know, the young ones that don't know that I'm a good dart shooter yet. And Daddy's got a drink free over here, you know.
Hey, you got a regular old ringer.
I ended up missing that finish, and I'm disappointed I didn't see it live, but I went back, obviously. Then Saturday night, went out to another local spot, the Lighthouse Inn, to watch the Cup Series race, and of course, college football, Penn State whiteout. So I watched it on my phone at the table and so I streamed it on my phone. So I watched the whole race on my phone there at the bar, and it was a good weekend. Good, oh man, Bristol, does it put on a show?
What was the score on that Penn State game?
28-20, I believe. Penn State won.
So it was an all right game.
Good game. Yeah, they had it on at the wedding because there was a bunch of Penn State fans and we were watching it, and it was intense.
See, and you want to know what? You got to watch a football game at the wedding, but you couldn't watch the race. You got to keep the missus happy there, I guess.
Yeah. So speaking of the missus, I got into a little bit of trouble.
Did you?
So it's well documented that I'm a huge Notre Dame fan, and once the actual wedding started, the wedding was outside, and we took the last possible shuttle. Me and a buddy of mine took the last possible shuttle over. my wife and his girlfriend were in the wedding, so we were left to our own devices. We went to a bar watching college football.
Yeah.
And we got to the last possible minute we got there. Notre Dame was on. So I, was feeling good in spirit. So I was like, yeah, we're in the back. We're late. We're in the back. I don't have a seat. I'm standing. Steph's in the wedding. She's not looking at me. I'm going to have the phone on down by my hip. Now, I had the volume off in my defense, but I was watching the game on my phone.
Unreal.
She caught me. She wasn't too happy about that.
Did you ever hear the story of Icarus?
No, I don't. No. Maybe.
Icarus had wings made out of wax, and he flew too close to the sun, and the wings, they melted, and he came flying down to Earth. You flew too close to the sun,
Yeah,
Matt.
I did. I should have, I don't know. I guess I shouldn't have watched it on my phone, but hey, whatever. I got to see Notre Dame win. And she had me going the whole night because she was checking her fantasy and everything.
I think she won, actually.
She knew what was going on.
Yeah.
And so the entire morning, the drive back home to the apartment and everything, she kept saying, well, I won fantasy. So I was trying to not think of, because I kind of tried to help her with her lineup a little bit.
Yeah.
And I was like, I forget who she picked. And I'm trying to figure it out, who'd she pick. That means they did good. And she was like, every opportunity she took, she was teasing me, trying to spoil the race for me, but she didn't, thank God.
Yeah, she hit big on all those bonus picks. A lot of extra points in the bonus picks. I did terrible in fantasy this week.
I did awful too, because I didn't.
Absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
Absolutely terrible.
At one point, I went to check to see who you picked, and it was right as the race started, so the app didn't load right, and it said no pick. I'm like, oh yeah, he forgot to pick his lineup. We're gonna gain some points here, but
it loaded. Yeah, I've seen that happen before.
Well, it sounded like a good weekend for the both of you guys. I was just chilling at home. I watched all the races at home. I tell you what, I'll save it for when we get to the truck race. But you guys want to jump into the latest NASCAR news?
Yeah. Not a lot going on this week.
No, really quiet news week. So a couple weeks ago, we teased you that Quinn House ride was going away, Starcom Racing. It was rumored that they'd be shutting down at the end of the season, and some crew members confirmed that the team is going to shut down at the end of 2021. So I believe they sold this the charter to Spire Motorsports. So we'll see what happens with that. 2022 Clash to be open to all Cup teams. Last week we talked about how it was coming to the LA Coliseum on a short track, and Matt, you actually asked how you're going to qualify in. Apparently they're still figuring out the details, but they're looking at heat qualifiers, and the main event would probably be 20 to 25 cars. So I'm assuming it's kind of along the lines of how we've run the All-Star race in the past. Mm-hmm. So that should be interesting. See everyone get a fresh start and a shot at the Clash in 2022 with that brand new car. So it kind of makes it worth it for all the teams to head out there.
Is that the reason why they're doing it? Because it's the new car? Because normally, I know Matt said it last week, it's usually only pole sitters, Clash winners, race winners. But I think since it's going to be the first time in the next gen, I think they have to kind of give everybody an opportunity, right?
Yeah, I think because it's a next-gen car, new venue, new everything. I think they just wanted
to get bogged down in the details here, and I don't want to sit on this for too long, but it said it's open to all Cup teams. I guess that technically means they don't have to go.
Yeah, probably not. You can probably forego it.
The only reason I'm saying that is because some of those lower-funded teams driving all the way out to L.A. to run a heat race and maybe not even get in.
Yeah.
Might not be financially worth it for them.
That's what I didn't know that until you sent the the rundown over today, Whitey, and I was like, ooh, all teams. I'm like, that's different. They usually don't do that. So
no, yeah, it seems like it's an optional thing. They're just giving everyone the opportunity to jump in. Plus, I mean, I'm sure the next gen car probably not really the best for short track racing. You're not really going to get an idea of what the car can do, but it's like a good first out of the gate kind of test the waters type race, no points on the line. So I think that's pretty interesting that they're going to let everyone in. Let's see. Mike Wheeler, 2311 Racing, officially named him the director of competition. So he actually before this weekend, he left the pit box of Bubba Wallace. He's heading, now he's the big boss over there. And Booty Baker was named the new crew chief for Bubba Wallace. We'll see how that goes. It's late in the season, so it's always tough to judge a new crew chief driver combination with only a couple races left. So I'm sure next year we'll get a better look at that. Hopefully it means better things for Bubba in the future, though. I've been critical of Mike Wheeler in the past. I don't think he's the best. We'll see. We'll see how he does managing all the cars now with Kurt Busch going over there for 2022. Speaking of crew chiefs, Rodney Childers signed a contract extension with Stuart Haas Racing. Going to spend a couple more years with Kevin Harvick. I assume they'll finish Kevin Harvick's career together. I don't know how many more years Kevin has in him, but I don't see them making any changes with that. Do you guys?
No, they're a dominant duo, man. They know each other. They understand each other.
Yeah.
And, when it comes to winning races, you need to have that between yourself and your crew chief, and they have it.
Absolutely. And Rodney is one of the best in the business too. There's no denying that. I feel like people this year, they're looking at Kevin Harvick. They're like, oh, well, where's the performance? But that's beyond their control at this point. They can't work on new parts and try to get better. So, but yeah, that's all I have for NASCAR news. Real light news week. I got no NASCAR history. So we might as well just jump into the race weekend. We got plenty to cover for Bristol, though. You guys want to talk trucks?
Yeah, let's go. I'm not going to be much help here. I didn't see any of the truck race, but fill me in, boys.
So I watched about the last 100 laps or so of the truck race. Fantastic. Sheldon Creed was doing a great job. Jumping right on board with Sheldon Creed. I think he's great, and looking forward to him joining RCR next year. And so I was like watching him, really getting into. I'm like, all right, I could get into following this guy. And I thought he was going to win. Chandler Smith, though, got his first career win for KBM and advanced to the next round of the playoffs. My whole thing is it was Thursday night. It was a late race. It started at 9 p.m.
Yeah. I had all intentions on watching it, and I'm like, oof. Once 9 o'clock came around, I'm like, man, I don't know if I could do this.
Yeah,
I don't know if I'm gonna make it. Yeah.
So I didn't have work on Friday, so I took a little napski before the race. So I was prepared. I was ready. And even by the end, I was watching it, and there was just a bunch of wrecks. Of course, it's Bristol. It's the guys in the trucks. They're really fighting hard too in their playoffs. And Austin Hill wrecked out, and I think there's like 15 or so to go. And I'm like, you know what? Sheldon Creed has this. I don't even care. I'm going to bed. And then I wake up, and I guess it was another chaotic ending to Bristol. Some people were a little angry with John Hunter Nemechek. They feel like he let up and let his teammate Chandler Smith get the win and advance in the playoffs. But I mean, that's what teammates are for, right?
That's Bristol, baby.
Yeah, it's Bristol, baby. Lean on your teammates when you need to.
Yep.
Yeah.
But congratulations to Chandler Smith getting his first career win down in Bristol. Xfinity Series race. We touched on it a little bit. Absolutely insane ending. AJ Allmendinger came sliding to the finish for the win. I never saw a post-race winner circle interview coming out of the infield care center. It was amazing.
That was we had gotten home, and we were kind of packing our bags for the wedding and everything for the next day because we had to get up early. So I was like, oh my god, the race, I think it's still on. So I flipped it on as they were coming back to in overtime there.
Yeah.
And I know it just happened, and maybe I'm prisoner of the moment, but that might have been the best 2 laps of racing in any series I might have ever seen.
That was so exciting.
Incredible. Oh. It was incredible. I texted you guys as soon as it happened, you guys have to check this out. I didn't know if you guys were watching it or whatnot, but Eric was busy bullying kids at the dartboard.
Yeah. Yeah, and free drinks and douses. No, when you sent that clip, I wasn't watching either. I watched a little bit earlier on, and then I got to doing some other things. So I think I watched a movie or something with my girlfriend, and I pull it up, and I'm just watching. I'm like, holy shit, this is insane. Watch him 3 wide. AJ Allmendinger just bouncing off guys, swapping the lead, and what a finish it was. Well earned. And then the next morning, you sent us pictures, AJ Allmendinger partying in the camping area of Bristol with some fans. I thought that was amazing.
Yeah, that's sick. That is what I love about NASCAR is I'm sure there are countless stories of drivers, whether they just want to race or not, going out and partying with a lot of the fans. Like you would never see Tom Brady after a win going out and partying with fans and whatnot, so it's amazing that NASCAR and the drivers, they're just normal dudes with not normal jobs, and it's really cool to see that stuff.
Eric, didn't you party with some ARCA guys back in the day at either Pocono or Daytona?
Oh, dude, in the truck series now. That's my truck driver, dude. Austin Wayne
Self.
Oh,
we didn't party with him. He was racing, but we partied with his family.
Oh, that's
great people.
Yeah, they had his car on the trailer, and they were just pulled up right next to us from the ARCA race, and we got bullshitting with him, and that is who I kind of follow in the trucks now, because he ended up going up to the trucks. He drives the 22 truck now. Yeah, nice. Austin Wayne Self.
Yep. I couldn't remember the name of the guy. That's pretty cool. That
they were
doing well.
They came over. We were partying, and from what I can remember, they came over, and we got to talking with them. They're like, "Oh yeah, we're from Texas," and they're like, "Oh yeah, our son's racing in the ARCA series." Who is it? And we never heard of Austin Wayne Self at that point. We're like, "Oh, that's pretty cool." And then since then, we've like Eric just said, we've kind of been following him a little bit.
That's how you gain some fans when you're in those early stages, grassroots.
He runs top 15.
Yeah.
He's pretty decent in the truck.
Well, hopefully he has a nice long career and we see some cool stuff from him. I think that's an awesome story too,
Yeah.
Cup race Saturday night under the lights. Kyle Larson with his 6th win of the season. And I thought this was a pretty cool stat. He matched the number of career wins he had going into 2021. He had 6 career wins before this season. 6 career wins in this season. So I mean, hats off to Kyle Larson. He really is. He's a generational talent. You can't deny it.
That's a cool stat. But I've got one here for you guys. I'm not sure if you knew it. Did you know that this is the first time in Ryan Blaney's career that he's won multiple races in a single season?
That's a really interesting one. And I think it's only been 3 weeks since his last win at Daytona.
Yeah,
amazing,
that's just crazy,
amazing.
Great stat. That's
fantastic stat. Love it.
That stat is
It's why they call me Stat Man Matt.
Anyways, if you missed a couple episodes ago, that's a little inside joke because I gave that stat at the beginning of a show once, and then Matt gave it about an hour later because
I wasn't listening.
Much like Matt's wife, he doesn't listen to me either. So the highlights for the Bass Pro Shop night race, we had 8 cautions for 71 laps, 23 lead changes among 7 different drivers. Your top 5, of course, was Kyle Larson, Kevin Harvick, William Byron, who I got my t-shirt on for old Willie B, thanks to our buddy Robbie Stray. He got me this down in Pocono. Ryan Blaney was in 4th, and Alex Bowman rounding out the top 5. That Alex Bowman, man.
What about the top 8?
We'll get. Fantastic finish for Eric Jones.
What about the top 25?
I got the top 12 right here. Yeah, Eric Jones, hell of a run, man. Congratulations on the top 10. And a consistent top 10. He was up there all day long. So
and I love Bristol because of that. Like Bristol, best track we have in the circuit. And I love that he runs well there. He loves Bristol. Came in 9th in the dirt race too, 8th. It's one of those races you're like, ooh, it's exciting just because it's Bristol. It's nice.
Yeah.
But when you know your driver likes the track and is gonna run well, man, does that make it even better?
Oh yeah, and I was watching, man, because my driver wasn't doing the best in the middle there, and I was like, oh man, good for Eric Jones. He's up here. And usually those RPM cars are pretty decent at short tracks and stuff like that. Bubba used to run pretty well at Bristol in that car, so no surprise there. Eric Jones ran fantastic at Gibbs at Bristol every time he was there. I feel like Christopher Bell and Eric Jones swapped places completely in that regard, where Christopher Bell runs really well at the same tracks that Eric Jones used to run well in that 20 car. So that's pretty interesting to watch. But do you guys want to jump into our race grades? Eric, you could go first on that one.
Yeah, let's do it. I gave Bristol night race an A plus. I'll give it 1,000 pluses.
Yeah.
Cutoff race to the first round of the playoffs, short track racing at night. 4 drivers at the end of the race are going to get the boot and they're going home packing. What more could you ask for? And, the product that we saw was just amazing. The battles up front all day. I know the playoff battles are going on and people were in tune with that, but it's hard to look at the playoff battle when the lead was where all the action was. I mean, between Larson and Denny, Harvick and Blaney, Chase and Harvick, like all of these people that were up front, they were just going at it back and forth. There was a couple times when I'm like, ooh, I think Harvick's going to let Blaney take this just because
he doesn't want to use him up. Yeah.
Right, he doesn't want to use him up and like swap him back and forth. So the front was amazing. Middle of the pack racing was, it was all there. I think it was the third stage. I was following the Reddick because of you, Whitey. And, there was that one point between him and Almirola, and like they were running similar to one another, and it kept going back and forth at one point.
Oh my God, it was so nerve-wracking.
It was just edge of the seat, goosebumps. I'm hooting and hollering, just looking at my phone. Everyone's like, "What the hell's going on?" Like they're watching football. I'm over here watching the race on my phone.
What's this guy doing? He's yelling at the wrong parts.
But it just had everything that I asked for, everything that I hoped for. I know I was excited for Richmond too, like night race, short track. Let's go. We're here. And we didn't get that. So this produced. Bristol always produces. I think it's the best track on the circuit. And in my eyes, if you just, it's an A+ race, man. It's just everything about it.
How about you, Matt? What did you think of it? You watched it a day later.
A day later and severely hungover, which probably clouded my judgment. I gave it an A, but Eric's right. It probably was an A+ race. I just wasn't in the best mind frame yet again watching it.
Yeah.
It was excellent, man. It was everything we wanted. When they made when they made the Bristol night race the cutoff race a couple years back, like I knew they struck gold with it. In my mind, it's my favorite track that NASCAR goes to. It just produces the kind of racing that you've come to expect there. And a lot of guys, again, a lot of playoff guys had issues. At one point, Kyle Busch, I think he cut a tire or something. Something happened with Kyle Busch, and as he was going to pit road and he was going down like a lap, like in real time, you saw those points ticking down closer to the cutoff.
It was insane. I think he came within like 5 points to the cut line or something like that.
I think it was 2. I think he came 2 points away from the cutoff at one point. I'm like, oh my God, is Kyle Busch gonna get booted out of the first round of the playoffs like Kyle Busch? And
what a call, just going for 2 tires there though to keep him alive and get him back out there.
Right. And so obviously he didn't, but watching the race in quote unquote real time for me, I had no idea, what the outcome was. So it was just that intensity and that drama. And then everything that happened at the end, fan of one of those two guys or not with Chase and Harvick, you got that excitement once again, you got, that's going to carry over into the next few rounds. I'm sure, I don't think that saga is over by any means. So, I loved it. I love Bristol. So I gave it an A, probably deserved an A+ though.
Eric, did you say it before the show or during the show where you were more excited watching it knowing Matt wasn't, and you're like, oh man, wait till he sees this?
I think it was before the show, but yeah, I mean, knowing that he had his phone off and he was able to watch it live as I'm watching, I'm going, oh man. Going, oh man, Matt is gonna not like this.
He's gonna be pissed. He's gonna be so mad.
It actually kind of made the race more exciting for me, knowing he wasn't watching it and had to, watch it the next day, and knowing what his reaction would have been, and all of us would have been there texting in the group together. But I did forget though, like I was texting you, Whitey. We started our own little text group. so that like nothing came through when you turned your phone on or whatever.
Right.
And my phone actually died. I actually had to finish watching it on my girlfriend's phone. So if you thought if you tried texting me again after that, and it went, so my phone did end up dying, and no, it did make it more interesting knowing that you had to watch it the next day, though, Matt, for sure.
Yeah, I was wondering what happened. I texted you. I'm like, man, that 43 car looking good, and no response.
That was it.
But I am on the same page as you guys. I will show you my grade right here. I don't know if you can see it. It is an A+++. 3 pluses. You got to do 3 for Dale. And man, was it a great race. Probably the best race of the season. I mean, everything you want. Like, this is why NASCAR made the playoffs, because it takes a race that's already got excitement and it just adds more layers and more drama to it. From the playoff battles that I was paying attention to, I mean, those last 100 laps, I mean, I don't want to get too into the woods with Tyler Reddick and his performance, but like, missed lug nut, threw him a lap down, just battling back from adversity.
Come on, let's get this out slowly.
Battling back from adversity. Battling back from adversity. I'm watching it. Those last 100 laps, finally when that caution came out, I was like pacing around my living room. And then I'm watching the battles happen up front with, like Eric said, fucking Denny and Chase and Harvick and everyone going back and forth. And then all of a sudden we just see tires start going down. Chase's tire went down. Christopher Bell's tires going down. I'm yelling, NASCAR, where's the cautions? Throw a caution. I mean, there was no real need to, but I needed it for my own personal watching that ticker on the side.
They threw that one for Denny, which I thought they would have had to throw them for those other ones.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. They weren't consistent. They weren't consistent because
okay, how do you throw one for Denny and not this? It's the same thing happened.
Right. If they threw one for Chase, it would have been in a much better situation.
Right.
And same for Christopher Bell. So they weren't consistent. I was thinking about making that my records, but obviously I couldn't because of everything that happened. So, but I thought that was bullshit. That again, NASCAR wasn't being consistent.
Right. I was screaming at the TV though. I'm like, how is that not a caution? And I get it. Like, there's no debris or anything. They didn't get into anybody. It was all single car stuff. So like, it kind of makes sense why they didn't. I don't know. Maybe Denny was at the other end of the pit road when his came out, so they had a longer time to get there. Who knows why they threw the caution for that one opposed to the other ones. But like, I was just watching those playoff points go up and down, up and down. I'm like, oh, I need this caution. We need the reset. We got to get back up there, But like, I can't even be mad. One lug nut, that wasn't what did in Reddick's season or anything. 2 points it could have been from anywhere, like it just consistency wasn't there. So like, I can't even be mad about that. The race was absolutely phenomenal. I loved every single minute of it. I was pacing around for an hour.
Dude, now you can breathe easy though. It sucks that your guy isn't in it, and I wanted Reddick to advance just because of this podcast, the pressure away, for though. We all kind of become pseudo fans of the others drivers just because it enhances our excitement. But the silver lining, I try to look at the silver lining of everything, Whitey, for you, is that now you can just breathe, relax, worry about your fantasy and just watch some phenomenal racing. Guys, we have Talladega coming up in a couple weeks.
I can't wait for
the
Talladega.
Roval coming up in a couple weeks. We've got some great tracks on the horizon.
Well, I'll get into to who I'm pulling for the rest in my my checkers here. So I already gave you guys a little bit of a clue, but just a 10 out of 10 race, 11 out of 10, everything you want. I must have crushed 4 beers in the last 60 laps, though. I was just slugging them down, crushing them. Like, oh, I need to get another one. Like, I was getting real nervous. I didn't get drunk before that. I had like 2 beers earlier on in the race. It was like making me sleepy. So I had a little energy drink and I was like chilling. And then those last 100 laps, I was cracking them real quick. Rolling Rocks, they were flowing.
Oh, I had myself a Rolling Rock this weekend.
That's why I bought them. You sent me that Snapchat. I go, you want one? I haven't had a Rolling Rock in a while. I'm going to pick up a 6-pack. Well, I got a 12-pack.
What we saw, this weekend is certain fans, and when I was thinking of like checkers and wreckers when we were, before the, show started and everything, I almost, gave my checkers to NASCAR and like just the playoff format and sticking with it because, as a fan, you could pick it apart whichever way you want. But the way I have been looking at it the last few years is if you could take that regular season championship and look at it completely different.
Yeah.
Look at the first 26 races and whoever's crowned as that champion. In my mind, that is my champion.
Yeah.
Now, once this starts and the chasing these playoffs, get rid of the regular. Now, this is a whole new entity.
It's a new ball
this
game.
is a whole new ball game. This is entertainment. This is supposed to give us thrills, it's excitement, drama.
Yeah.
And you know what? If you look at it that way as a NASCAR fan, and it's the best thing for the sport. The energy, the entertainment, and what this playoff produces is exactly that. So I'm glad that I changed my mentality of the playoff format and thinking like, oh yeah, once you get there, you could kind of get blah, 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 screwed here and that. You could pick it apart, like I said.
Yeah.
But if you could take that away and just look at the playoffs versus the regular season and kind of split them up in your own head and just enjoy what NASCAR is giving us right now through these last 10 races is going to be unbelievable.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. That's a great way to look at it. And I think you hit the nail on the head. All right, you guys want to do checkers and wreckers? We'll start with Matt for the checkers and wreckers.
Yes, sir. All right. So my checkers goes to one Sherry Pollux, given the command to fire the engines.
Great command.
So Sherry, if you don't know who she is the longtime life partner of Martin Truex Jr. A little backstory with her. She's been battling ovarian cancer for a long, long time now. Seems like at this current state, she's doing well. Let's hope that keeps up. It's great to see that. But the command that she gave to fire engines on Saturday night was like, that's how it needs to be done. Like that came, like she gave everything into it. She leaned into that. And it was an amazing command. And, my dad, to close a loop on a couple weeks ago, we were talking about, him doing the command at a truck race back in the 90s. We found that video.
Yeah, I don't know if we ever talked about it after on the pod. We did find it on YouTube.
But Dad, I love you, but that was like the weakest command I've ever seen in my entire life. Go watch Sherry Pollux, and that's how you give a command to fire engines. Love you, Dad.
I mean, nerves and stuff. It's scary being on national television.
I know. I kid because I care.
It was funny. I just can't believe I found that race on YouTube. It was a random truck race from 1997. Yeah, amazing. I couldn't believe it. I thought you were pulling our leg when you said your dad gave command at a NASCAR race before. All right. How about your wreckers? What was your wreckers for the weekend?
We all know where I'm going with that. Let me crack this open here. This Polar, delicious Polar. If we could ever find a sponsor, it needs to be Polar Seltzer.
Didn't we drive past the Polar factory?
We did
on our way to Portland, Maine.
We should have stopped.
We should have.
If we can take a tour.
Got a picture near the polar bear.
2021, not stopping.
Yeah,
absolutely. All right, my wreckers goes to Harvick. It has to go to Harvick for me as a Chase fan. And I'll tell you what, not even for the on the track stuff. I know we'll get to that. I'm not giving him a pass on all the on track stuff. All that is, to me, kind of honestly a racing deal. A couple guys getting heated at each other. Yeah. Both were in the wrong, both were in the right on the on track stuff. And like I said, I know we'll dive into that at some point here. Mm-hmm. But for what Harvick did after the race, he got out of his car with his helmet on. Yeah. First of all, he called Chase's move that happened on the track a chicken shit move. That's his phrase, not mine.
Yeah.
Walking up to another race car driver with your helmet on in a confrontation is the biggest chicken shit move in my mind.
Yeah.
You don't do that.
I have a tinfoil hat conspiracy on that one, but okay. Continue.
Okay. That's, and I can't wait to get into it. You just don't do it. I had never had a problem with Harvick ever until this all went down. I really thought he was cowardly, to be honest with you. And then they interview him once everything gets settled down. And he goes, "Oh, I'm so mad. I just want to rip someone's head off."
Yeah.
Again,
was lame.
that's directly what he said. And then
he
had
smashed his helmet on
and
his
then he
car.
smashed his helmet. He smashed his helmet. He did all that. He called Chase a crybaby, even though you're kind of pouting yourself. And then after he said he wanted to rip someone's head off, he approached Chase. They're talking it out again or arguing it out again verbally. If you want to rip someone's head off, dude, you have your opportunity right here. Stop talking and swing.
I was waiting for him to throw a punch. I was waiting for it.
I would have had, being a Chase Elliott fan, I would have had more respect for Kevin Harvick if he first of all, if he took his helmet off and he just hit him. Even if he knocked him out, I would have had so much more respect for him. You just don't talk about it. Don't talk shit. Do it. And that just completely turned me on Harvick, and it stinks because, like I said, I never had a problem with him. But it kind of seems like Harvick's kind of a locker room bully. You go back to that whole thing with Keselowski and Gordon when Harvick kind of shoved Keselowski.
Major instigator.
He's a major instigator, and then he doesn't do anything. Go ahead. I'm sorry, because I'll go on forever.
No, I'll interject here only for one thing. I also gave Harvick my records, so I'm going to add on to this here. I agree, almost for the same points. I said, Harvick, if you want to get out of your car all hot and heavy, then take your helmet off and confront Chase like a veteran and champion that you are. I said, I remember him shoving in that Gordon and Keselowski fight. Don't go slamming your helmet down after you already were in a confrontation, saying this, saying that. You already called him, the temper tantrum while he's having his own as well. I agree that I think it's heated in the moment, that kind of stuff happens, but Harvick's got to swing. Like if
you got to swing, you got to swing.
It was to me, there's a difference between a driver being mad at somebody and then Harvick, how mad he was. If he was really as mad as he seemed and made it out to be, man, you got to go for it.
You had the opportunity to do it, and then even when they got away,
to a fight, and then you're not gonna. Like that. The whole thing rubbed me the wrong way. Like I think the on the track stuff, like that went down. But if the off the field stuff happened and Harvick swung and got in an altercation, man, I kind of would have. I wouldn't have wrecked them. I kind of would have been like, okay, like you're both mad, you're both angry. Hash it out, and then then you go into Chase's hauler, and like he's the first one in Chase's hauler. Like, oh man, like I would have loved to have been in there. I
want to know what happened in that.
Everyone in the NASCAR world wants to know how that conversation went. And here's the other thing too. My sub records goes to that little frickin' weasel, whoever that guy in the white collared shirt was. That PR guy for Stuart Haas Racing or whatever, like get out of the way.
That's Kevin Harvick's business manager.
Okay, business manager, get out of the way because you look like a cheerleader. Let the two grown-ups talk it out.
He's part of my He's part of my tinfoil hat that I'll get into after my records.
Okay, well I'm not. Hold on, just let me finish my rant here. I'm sorry, I'm heated, and it just is what it is. That guy, If they actually, let's say they actually got physical there, Chase and Harvick, what was that guy going to do? Was he going to jump in two and make it 2-on-1? Because that ain't going to look good, especially if you're a PR guy or whatever he is.
I don't think he was trying to get involved at all, besides to break them up if something happened.
He was in there. He was in Chase's face chirping him along with Harvick.
Yeah.
If you go back and watch it again, he was chirping right along, and Chase at one point looked at him and tried backing him up.
I was a couple beers deep at that point, and I don't really remember the confrontation. I didn't watch the confrontation all over again. I only just watched the on-track stuff over again. Okay. Was he chirping at him?
Yes. Yeah. He was in his face along with Harvick, and then eventually Harvick got pissy at Jordan Bianchi, the one NASCAR reporter, for recording on the phone, and that's when.
How hilarious was it when he dropped the phone and brought it right back up? Yeah, that was hilarious. Yeah,
it was phenomenal.
I tweeted at him, I'm like, "Oh man, Jordan Bianchi just got dissed."
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I did get a newfound respect for Chase Elliott though in this whole scenario. He tends to be a quiet, driver, tends to not say.
It was nice to see him show some balls.
And, he's very, very dry most of the time, very just straight face, doesn't show a lot of emotion, whether it be in the words that he says or even in the face expressions that he shows. He's just very, yep, this is what it was. I'm gonna move on to the next.
He's a very, it is what it is. We're just gonna.
He's our champion right now. Until he's dethroned, and he's the face of our sport. And I think he rode that for a little while here, and kind of maybe like we were talking PR guys, maybe like they told him, hey, like this is your responsibility. You're the face, but don't do anything stupid. Blah 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 blah. I get that. That's probably there. But man, you could tell Chase's true emotion came out. And because it takes a lot to get Chase to do that, is where I'm like, man, do I wreck Harvick for this? Like, it happens all the time. People get mad at each other. Shit like that happens.
Yeah.
But like with Chase, I thought it was a little different because he doesn't tend to do that. He doesn't tend to get confrontational. So for him to get confrontational is like, ooh, like, that really, like, there must be something other than just that night.
Well, it went back to Darlington. Go back to Darlington a couple weeks ago. Harvick did the same thing. Harvick is a sneaky, dirty racer. I'm sorry, that might be controversial. You guys might not agree with me, which is fine, but it's my opinion that Harvick's a sneaky, dirty racer. And I don't know. This isn't over, and I don't want to get too far into it because I know both of you still have to go, and I know Whitey has.
I really do. I think there might be a little bit of bump and bang, and I don't think there's going to be a full blown dump.
Nah.
I think whatever happened in that hauler, it got settled there. Right. Maybe like there's going to be like, if come time to like make or break next round advancing, for sure, something's gonna happen, but I don't think it's gonna be a blatant dump. Put it that way.
And that's why that's the only negative for me as a Chase fan that I'm pulling away from it, was like not the best time to make an enemy right now. Like, I understand you're pissed off in the moment and all that, but like really not the best time to make an enemy, because both of you guys are going to be racing around each other a lot the next couple races. So it's going to get interesting. Oh, the one thing I will say, and then I'll let you guys go, and I apologize for getting up on my soapbox here, but this is really good. This is really good for NASCAR, I think, going into the rest of the playoffs here.
Oh yeah, it creates a new storyline. Will they get more retaliation? All that stuff. One thing I started laughing when you said, Harvick's like a sneaky, dirty driver. Like, he knows how to pull like sneaky moves and stuff. And it just reminded me of our old buddy Jimmy Spencer on the Dale Jr. download a couple months ago. He said, you gotta bump the guy and turn him, but make it look like you never touched him. And I think Harvick's really good at doing that kind of shit.
He tried doing that on Larson once Larson got around him.
Oh yeah. You want to know what though? Larson was not clear. He slid up way too early. He got lucky that he didn't take himself out with that move. That was
another slide job.
It was a rough one. And you want to know what? I was waiting for Harvick to turn him right there because Larson was super loose just from the slide job. It would have been a perfect time, and I needed that caution. That's what I was praying for as I was watching it. Eric, you gave your records. You gave your records. You want to give your checkers before I give mine?
Yeah, my checkers. It just went to Hendrick Motorsports. We talked about Joe Gibbs possibly sweeping the whole first round.
Yeah, and it looked like it was going to happen.
Yep, they kind of dominated. Hendricks kind of fell off. Two drivers possibly not going to make it with Bowman and Byron. I wrecked him last week too. Willie B, I was high on him, and he wasn't getting shit done. And he had to run a flawless race, both of them, that 48 and the 24, and they did just that. And you know what? That shows, in my eyes, maturity. That shows confidence in your team, in everyone around you. That, okay, we're going to have our good days and our bad days, but let's make this one good. And he had all the confidence in his team that they could do that. And, I just thought that was impressive because, man, they looked like they were definitely going to not make it into the next round. And they raced their way right in there and proved that Hendricks, they're not going away. They are here to stay, and they are here to challenge Joe Gibbs. And they dominated the regular season with a ton of race wins. And, this second round is a whole new animal. So I have to give it up to Hendricks for not like getting too caught up in the hype of themselves and then falling short and flat on their face here in this first round. They stepped up and they got all their cars through.
Absolutely, and I agree, and that's why this week my checkers goes to, we've been big on him all season, one William Byron. I'm wearing the t-shirt our buddy Shrey got me at Pocono. It's a sick one too.
Without a William. Oh no, never mind. I do. I have a William Byron shirt.
But so Eric, you alluded to it. I was watching the pre-race show, and William Byron, he went into the race knowing he was on the cut line. He was pretty far back. I think he was negative 18 points going into to Bristol, and they asked him what his game plan was, and he's like, we need top threes. We need to come in at least third throughout every stage break. And you know what? They did it. I mean, first stage, he ended up with
I think 10th. It
10th,
was like,
yeah. So he finished in 10th. Second stage, he got 4th, and then he finished the race in 3rd overall.
He was in position to win the race too.
He really was.
He was in the picture.
Yeah,
I was really impressed by him, man. That was maturity again. What you guys just said, like that, it was maturity on his part.
Yeah, he's really coming into his own this season. I wonder how much of that the new crew chief has to do with it. You know, they've worked together in the past in the truck series and stuff. But yeah, just super impressed with William Byron. And you want what? Gotta say, I was super impressed with Alex Bowman too. He was in kind of the same situation going in, negative points, and he did what he had to do, got himself a top 5. We know Bowman's not the most consistent one at Hendrick. So yeah, I mean, gotta give it to Hendrick as a whole, but especially William Byron. Super impressed with him. And since my driver's out of the playoffs, I'm pulling for Willie B in the playoffs. Of course, I want to see Reddick go out there and win a race regardless. But when it comes to the playoff cut and all that drama, I'm going to be following William Byron on this one. He's going into Las Vegas 2 points to the good, or no, only 1 point to the good. Bowman's 2 points to the good. So we'll see what happens in Vegas if they could keep the train rolling. Those Hendrick cars are good at 1.5 miles though, so I'm assuming it won't be any issue. My record goes to the one Hendrick Motorsports driver that did not finish in the top 5 or top 10. One Chase Elliott, and my records goes to him for on track. I watched that final altercation with him and Kevin Harvick about 4 times in a row. And I didn't see anything that Kevin Harvick did that was very egregious. Like he said, they were going 3 wide for the win. Kyle Busch was passing them. He was a lap down or whatever, battling to get his lap back. Chase was on the outside, and Harvick pinned him.
And Harvick washed up. Harvick washed up the racetrack.
No, before this, Harvick pinned him behind the lap car. Chase picked the wrong line. He put himself in a bad position. He got used up by a veteran driver, and then Chase got pissed, came down, pushed them 3 wide with the lap car, and Harvick washed up. I don't know if Harvick got loose or what.
He did. He cut right hard. He got loose and his car jerked hard to the right. He definitely washed up.
Here's the deal, though. It's
intentional. You know, his car.
But it's body of work. I mean,
I'm going on the race, not the body of work. I'm analyzing this situation because this isn't why I'm wrecking Chase. I'm wrecking Chase for what he did after he came out of the pits. So he got used up by a veteran in the final closing laps of a race. Happens. You picked the wrong line. You got stuck behind a lap car. That's short track racing. That's what people love about short track racing. And your spotters cut.
Happened to Denny Hamlin.
Yeah.
Denny Hamlin got the same thing happen to him. And that's why he cut his time down. Same racing for the lead in the front. Same exact thing happened.
Yeah. Sorry, Chase. Sorry about your damn luck, but you made a bad move. I don't think Harvick intentionally put him into the wall. Maybe he did. I don't know. He washed up in the middle of the corner. They were on old tires. They were coming to the end.
Benefit of the doubt, though.
I am giving him the benefit of the doubt. I'm giving it
though because Chase said himself. There's been multiple times where he has raced me. He's raced me dirty. He doesn't race me clean.
He's a veteran. He's a veteran racing a young guy, and he's exposing a young guy's weaknesses. I don't care if he's a champion.
He gets impatient. He gets impatient with these. Harvick has always had a problem with young drivers. It's why he left RCR, because he had a problem with Austin Dillon coming up into the same team. He had a problem with, he doesn't like this youth movement. He's always had a problem with it. He's always complained about it. And when he has an opportunity to do something about it, he doesn't do anything about it, but wreck them. He doesn't swing at them when he's face to face with them. He's a coward. That's exactly what he is. He races dirty, and finally, I'm so happy that Chase had the backbone to finally stand up for himself, like the champion that he is, like the defending champion that he is. He finally had the backbone to stand up to a bully that Harvick is. And like I said, I don't think it's over, because I don't think a guy like Harvick forgets about shit like that. I don't think he lets it go.
What I saw,
take an opportunity to ruin Chase's day down the road, and that's what makes me nervous, and that's why I didn't like what Chase did.
What I saw was a veteran driver use up the weaknesses of a younger driver and to his advantage. And then what I saw, that
was just racing at Bristol Motor Speedway. I think Harvick didn't do anything on purpose. I think he was, honest to God, focused on winning a race. Hasn't won yet.
Yeah.
Opportunity. This is his package. They're running really well. You're in the playoffs. I think he really wanted that win.
You got bonus points on the line.
And because from what I saw, his car, he hooked right.
Yeah.
In the middle of that turn, his car, he got loose and he went up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that was intentional by all means, because Chase was running that high line all day long.
Yeah.
And he would go out there, he'd get the high line, but Harvick would get him in 1 and 2. He'd come back, 3 and 4, get to the bumper. So I just think it was a racing incident. That's Bristol. Same exact thing happened with Denny Hamlin when he was racing Larson up front, and back and forth. I think it was more or less. I don't think anyone did anything right or wrong on track. I think where you guys I agree with Whitey.
I didn't even get to my wreckers part yet. This was just the setup.
What we're talking about in the sense of this race, you just got to look at this incident. You know what I mean? If you could take out the other
past is the past. I'm not paying attention to that. I'm just watching what I saw on track.
Man, I think this incident was just hard racing at Bristol in a cutoff race, and
I agree, but I think context matters though. I don't think Chase comes out of the pits after getting serviced and does what he does.
And that's my wreckers, because you want to know what? Like Eric said, the face of NASCAR, the current champion, can't hold his emotions enough after a racing deal, comes out and it tries to intentionally wreck someone racing for the lead.
No, he didn't. If he tried intentionally,
he doored him in the corner.
He let him know that he was displeased with him.
And you want to know what?
Intentionally wreck him.
I agree with Kevin Harvick. It was a chicken shit move. He should have controlled his emotions.
Can't purposely wreck someone, then he shouldn't be on. Then he shouldn't be one of the best drivers in the world.
That's some NASCAR Heat 5 online bullshit coming out of the pits and wrecking people.
He put his wheel into the door just to give him a little shot. If he wanted to purposely wreck him. Yeah, if he wanted to purposely wreck him, he's one of the best drivers in the entire world at what he does. He would have wrecked him.
I think that was hey, I'm not happy with what you did. And I am not just going to let you go out here and continue your race without me letting you know this. And, I agree with Matt. I think if he wanted to give him damage, if he wanted to cut that tire down, he would have. It was a love tap to the door, saying, hey, I don't, the one thing that if I thought you were going to wreck Whitey, not that move. I thought you were going to wreck because I like that Chase did that. I like that he stood up for himself.
That pissed me off. I'm like,
do that.
That
happens every fucking week when someone gets somebody. But I thought you were gonna wreck him, slowing Harvick down and taking that line.
That's all part of it. That's all part of it.
I like that as well. But I liked that as well.
Listen though, he didn't
everything about it. To be honest with you guys,
he didn't. He didn't slow Harvick down. If you go back and look, he eventually got 4, 5, 6 car lengths out in front of Harvick. When Harvick was battling Larson for the win in the closing laps, Chase was way ahead of them. He didn't go out there and park himself in front of Harvick and slow him down. He ran his race and he ran his line. He just didn't get out of the way. Why would he get out of the way? Because Harvick was racing him dirty.
When he came back out onto the racetrack, he definitely allowed Larson to get to Harvick's bumper for him to get there, which, hey, I agree
you tap him, you're taking out speed. you know?
Yeah.
Larson was almost a full second behind Harvick when Chase came out and hit him. And then all of a sudden, Larson's right at his tail. Like
I said, my only problem with Chase doing that wasn't a morality thing. It was hey, dude, you don't want to make an enemy out of a bully when you're in the playoffs fighting for a championship. This is the part of the season last year where you really came on strong and really turned it on. This isn't when you need to have someone gunning for you. That's my only issue with it.
Now, for my tinfoil hat theory.
Uh-oh.
So, Subway, brand new sponsor this week for Stuart Haas and Kevin Harvick. A couple years ago, when Daniel Suarez was with JGR, he did a bit with NBC where they're handing out donuts from Dunkin' Donuts or something like that. Subway saw it, didn't like it, and immediately pulled their sponsorship. I think when the whole pit road altercation happened, I think Harvick left his helmet on, so if punch wouldn't get thrown. I think his business manager was there reminding him, hey, you have a new sponsor on the hood of this car. They're fickle, and they might not want to see their driver getting in a fight with the champion right now. And I think that's why they went into the hauler eventually. I think that's why they didn't want any cameras really around. I think it was all sponsorship issues and stuff.
Their subs are only 11 inches anyway, and their bread's made out of fucking plastic.
Subway's got some bad press already. They got to make sure that their name is clean. They don't need a Kevin Harvick, Chase Elliott drama, especially
everybody, dude. Yeah,
you know when Subway pulled their sponsorship out of NASCAR over that speaking of chicken shit.
That was a chicken shit move. I'll agree with that.
I went an entire year without eating Subway.
I mean, you shouldn't go.
I really showed them.
I mean, you shouldn't go a full year eating Subway ever. Like, Subway is the worst.
It's awful. It's terrible.
Go to Primo's Hoagies if you want to eat a chain or like Jersey Mike's or something.
This is going to come off a little, maybe not the most PC, but there are these two heavier women that work at a Subway around here.
Yeah.
I will only go to that Subway because I'll tell you what.
They load the sandwiches.
They know and take it as you want, but they make a good sandwich.
All right.
That's a compliment.
Well, after the show, let me know what Subway that one is. I'll put them to the test and see if it's worth it. Because the last time I went to Subway, it was awful. Like the worst.
No, they put love into it.
No, but that was my Checkers. I don't know.
I loved it all. Honest to God, I don't have any affiliate with any of this. I saw it as this is great racing at Bristol.
Yeah.
This is racing for the win. Old tires. Someone gets loose in the middle. They come up track. He got into Chase. Hey, he cut Chase's tire down.
Yeah.
Boom. Chase goes down pit road. Okay, now Chase thinks of all the other bullshit. Now he's mad. He's pissed. Goes out and does what he does. Hey, that happens all the time. It just so happens that this is a cutoff race. It's the playoffs.
Yeah.
It is just everything gets amplified 100% more. And you know what? Like, I didn't see anything malicious. I didn't see no car got turned around. If Harvick wanted to, he would have just completely hit him in that left side of that bumper and spun him right around and just said, hey, I'm done with you. Get out of my way.
Yeah.
I'm winning this race. This is mine. I saw it as, hey, we're racing for a win here. And, it just was that. It was just hard racing at Bristol Motor Speedway.
Yeah.
And, they showed it all week long. The helmet throwing, that's what this racetrack produces. These type of drama-filled moments. And I loved every minute of it.
That was another thing. I didn't realize Harvick has glasses on. You never get into a fight with glasses on. That's why I always have Daytona Ron Eric fight my battles when I pick them out at the bar. Not that I've done that in a long time. But what was I going to say?
The phrase chicken shit move.
Yeah. Someone dropped that on the morning drive to one of the callers. They slipped that in there. I don't think the morning drive guys were too thrilled about that one. They're trying to keep it pretty clean on their show.
Yeah.
But whatchamacallit, honestly, I don't really care all that much about the Chase Harvick incident in a race that I thought was phenomenal. It was honestly the only thing that I could even think of for a wreckers. I knew you were going to wreck Harvick, so I figured I'd give the opposing argument.
Sure,
honestly,
fair. That's fair.
honestly, I thought the battle was great. I really did think Harvick was just a veteran using up Chase Elliott at the end. Fine. And you want to know what? Like, it was a racing deal. It is what it is. The fight, the
thing doesn't happen to Denny. I look at it differently. I think though, since it happened to a couple other drivers where that little bump and that fender getting in cuts the tire down, it happened to multiple other people.
Mm-hmm.
So
oh yeah,
this is just a racing thing. They're going up there. It happens, you know. So
sure.
I just isolated incident. Maybe I look at it a little bit differently, but that was just awesome racing.
Yeah, it also fired me up too because like there was 36 laps to go. Like Chase in my mind had the best car because he had that speeding penalty and he came all the way back from it and he got up there faster than anybody else did. I thought he had the best car out there and I mean it ruined his day. It ended his day.
And can I tell you something that reminded me of something I think about all the time during races when I'm listening to Tyler Reddick's radio and stuff. They'll come over the radio and they'll be like, oh, your fastest car on track right there. Third fastest car on track right there. But he's like sitting in 15th a lap down because of a pit road issue. That shit pisses me off so bad. Because like, I don't know. It's just depressing knowing that there's more in the car and the driver there and just nothing could get done. That's why I was really pissed with that whole situation that they didn't throw a caution. I needed that caution to come out to get Reddick back up near the front of the pack there. At least get us a top 5.
Off topic before we move on.
Yeah.
I really wish that Hooters paint scheme was white and orange instead of that black this week.
See, I like the flat black under the lights.
I love the flat back too.
I love that. I love it. I love that paint scheme. But at night, the white just looks so much cleaner under the lights. I feel like, yes. I just feel like the white under the lights, it just stands
like that
out more.
Pearlescent white.
It was hard. Like it's hard to really see that matte black, you know, when he's going around that orange. I think the white would have looked awesome. Jimmy Johnson always ran a white car in night races, and I love that Ally white car.
I'll tell you what, completely off topic right now, but I just looked out my window, and I don't know if you guys have a view of the moon where you're sitting right now, but it's
a harvest moon, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, it sure is.
Yeah, it's like a full harvest moon. You should write a poem about it. Okay, so this is real off topic. The one day, me and Luke, our buddy Luke, and our buddy Brandon, we were all leaving the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Arena, where the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins play, the AHL affiliate of the Pittsburgh Penguins. And I walk outside, and there's just a giant moon above the stadium. Like, man, that's a beautiful moon. I'm gonna take a picture of it. The clouds were like kind of covering half of it. It looked like a painting kind of deal. I'm like, man, look at that moon. And one of the guys working security chirped me. He goes, "Why don't you write a poem about it?" And I felt about this fucking big when it happened. I'm like, fuck you, man. You know that's a beautiful moon.
That's grounds for a fist fight.
But as soon as you said
that guy burned you hard.
But as soon as you
Whitey, that's such a Whitey scenario to run into.
Oh yeah, but as soon as you said it, it like popped in my head. I'm like, oh, I could get mad with this one. Why don't you write a poem about it? All right, so let's see what else we got to talk about for Bristol. We covered Eric Jones, nice top 10 finish. He was consistent all night, running around 8th, 9th, and 10th. So big congratulations to him and you, Eric, Daytona Ron. Chase and Harvick got into each other with 36 to go. Bell had a good run going, and he lost a tire late in the race. I thought he was kind of in position to win. He took the lead at some points. He was running second, third.
Really good early there.
I tell you what, Christopher Bell at short tracks, man, he is a lock for fantasy and stuff like that. Let's see, Larson, Hamlin, Harvick, some great battles all night long. Hamlin, of course, cut that tire. Martin Truex Jr., though, he was my favorite going in. I picked him to win in fantasy and stuff like that, and really was kind of non-existent. I mean, he wasn't too far back, but he was running like 12th, 13th for most of the night. I don't even remember where he finished. Do you guys remember?
He finished in 7th.
7.
Yeah, I would say he got a top 10. I knew he got a top 10. He was up there.
He rebounded there at the end, but for a while I was like, man, where is Martin Truex Jr. at? Of course, Chase had a speeding penalty earlier in the race. Matt, you allude to it. He came back to put himself in position to win, and of course, a dust up with Kevin Harvick ended that. We saw some different tire strategies, which I thought was really interesting at Bristol. I think it was, what was it, with like 130 or so to go. A caution came out. Some guys were on fresher tires than others. Some guys stayed out. I thought that was pretty interesting to see how that played out. Eventually, the caution did come out, though, and I think everyone came in and pitted together.
Actually, you know what? Talking about tires and strategy, man, when Larson had the dust up and he got that damage to his left rear quarter panel and he had that tire rub, I'm like, well, there goes Larson's day. He's got to come down pit road as well.
Yeah.
And so I'm there. I'm like, oh, man, like, who else is going to come down pit road? Because they were kind of just on pit road, maybe 20, 25 laps earlier. Yeah. And I'm like, who's going to take the gamble? Who's looking to possibly get fresh tires at the end of a long run here? If there's a caution, they stay out. And I'm like, man, what a gamble. And that spotter must have really had a good look at his fender and his tire, because I'm like, he's got to come down pit road. His night's over too. And he stayed out there with that rub and that damage. And, you know, obviously it didn't affect the handling as much as I thought it would have to his car with that damage. I'm like, there's for sure going to have to get, you know, some work done to that car. And, you know, there's even more kudos to Larson to go out there, you know, with a damaged race car, a tire rub, a known tire rub, and like, you know, with how many other people went down with tires like that, to stay out there and then win the race and still be able to battle. After Harvick even got into the back of him and shoved them, and, you know, with the arrow being all weird, I give mad props to Kyle Larson for this year, that race. It was just Harvick. He definitely tried dumping him at the end there, and I think Larson just held on. So very impressive. Run there by Larson.
That's those Kyle Larson dirt seals coming in where you're loose and all around. He's the master at saving that kind of stuff. Him and Christopher Bell. But you reminded me of something that I didn't put in my notes. Eric Almirola. He was smoking for a while. He had an oil leak and stuff. One of his oil lines or something like that was leaking, and they managed to get
changed it. Quickly.
Like very quick. Yeah, I was honestly surprised that they didn't go a lap down, but maybe I'm misremembering, but didn't they extend that caution? Was there something happened where they extended that caution?
He was,
because he was dropping oil all over the place.
That's why they extended it, I believe.
Yeah. It went red, right? There was a red flag for a little.
There was a red flag, but they
well, he can't fix anything under red.
No, they I guess black flagged him. He had to come down pit road.
I thought the red flag came out after one of Quinn Half's wrecks. I think he left debris on the track. I think
you're right. Yeah, you're right, Whitey. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
When Almirola was getting fixed up, they just threw some speedy dry down and they were ready to go. I was just surprised he didn't go a lap down, at least one lap down, you know. But I mean, unfortunately for him, it didn't work out in the end. He still dropped out of the playoffs. But if it wasn't for that oil line, he could have been advancing to the
hell of a battle going. Like I said, I was like that one point, Whitey. I'm going, oh no. I would love to be a fly on the wall at Whitey's house.
It was a rough night.
That level is probably through the roof. If my phone was dead, I couldn't even text you. Like, because in that moment, you know me, the type of guy I am, Whitey.
Oh yeah.
I would have full on been busting your balls. I'm like, oh, your day's done, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, Reddick is screwed. You know what I mean? I wanted to amplify your anxiety, just being a ball busting friend that I am, and I couldn't do it because my phone was dead.
I tell you what, from these last 3 races or last 4 races, including Daytona, I've learned a lot of patience when it comes to the race is not over till it's over.
Yeah.
You just got to let things happen the way they're going to happen, and there's nothing you could do. It doesn't matter what t-shirt you wear on what day and you put your hat on and all those superstition things that I've done throughout this season. But there was a nice stretch of good runs where I was wearing the same t-shirt every Sunday. I think what really screwed us was switching to these Saturday night races, and the t-shirt didn't have the power it does on Sundays. So there's always that. Hendrick ran much stronger than I thought they would this week, though. With short tracks and stuff, it seemed like JGR and the Fords were lights out better than everybody, and Hendrick really wasn't much of a factor. And this week it seems like we're back to the old Hendrick we were used to for the last couple months. So it should be exciting when it comes to Las Vegas next weekend.
Yeah, Larson won earlier in the year there at Vegas. So
oh yeah, I assume it's going to be another Chevy gang win. Do you guys have anything else to add to the Bristol weekend though?
No, I think as far as the Bristol race, that's pretty much all I have. I have some stuff on the following week and the playoffs, but no, the Bristol race, I think that's pretty much it.
Touchdown Lions.
All right, go
Sorry,
Bears.
Daddy has the over here tonight.
Oh, can I tell you? So I listen to this podcast, right? It's called Covino and Rich. They are fantastic.
Yep.
Man, listen to them for years. They used to be on Sirius XM. Now they're doing their own Patreon thing. But the guy Rich Davis, every week he does bets. He's a big sports gambler. So I don't know anything about football or anything like that. But Sunday I knew he was going live with his Dickie dope picks of the week. So I was driving to get Popeyes. I was getting a chicken sandwich. He was going live with his picks. I pull over to the side of the road. I pull into a CVS parking lot in Music, and I was literally writing his picks down on one of our bump and run business cards. So as soon as he was done, I go to FanDuel and I start placing it. His whole thing is he does teaser bets. Some people say teasers are for suckers, but you want to know what? Every teaser bet he had this week, except for one hit. So I'm sold on Dickie's dope picks. But there was one.
Email those over to me when you get them.
I will on Sundays. I will. The thing is, so I did like, he bets hundreds of dollars. I was betting like $2 or $3 each on these bets because it was like bet $1, win 90 cents or whatever. So I'm like, oh, I'll throw $3 here, $3 there. I did like 5 different bets. And then the final one, he gave us a 3-game parlay. And I was like, you want to know what? I'm going to throw $5 on this bad boy. It was 3 games straight bets. Well, I picked the money line by accident. And then with the spread, I picked the spread. And then because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. And somehow, instead of picking the games from Sunday, I picked the games for next Sunday for 2 of them.
Whitey,
so right
that's
now,
such a Whitey move.
Oh,
so,
yep.
So right now I have a $5 bet where one team won. I have 2 games coming up this Sunday. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But yeah, that's why I don't sports gamble. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. But Sunday I will send you over his picks. Hopefully we can win some money together. I'll tell you who didn't win any money this past weekend was Ryan Newman. Here on the Bump and Run podcast, everyone likes to talk about the winner, but we'd like to highlight the loser of the race, the last place car. And this week it was one Ryan Newman for Roush Fenway Racing. He was involved in an incident with Daniel Suarez and Cole Custer early on in the race. They couldn't get him fixed under the damaged vehicle policy. The clock ran out and his day ended. And you want to know what? Honestly, it's gotten to the point where I kind of forget about Ryan Newman even being in the Cup field.
Same exact thing. I was going to say the same exact thing.
He's become an afterthought, which is sad.
Do you think he should have hung it up after that Daytona 500 crash and just never came back?
Yes. Yep. 100%.
Yeah. I feel bad because, like Ryan Newman was a great racer. He was, I mean, arguably,
Rocket man.
Yeah, he was one of the best that ever won a championship in the last 20 years. Like him, Denny Hamlin, Mark Martin. So I just feel like it kind of sucks watching him fade away into obscurity on track and getting in dust ups in the back of the pack with Cole Custer and people. So kind of sucks for him. But we move on. Do you guys want to do some pickle lanes? I got 3 of them for you. We teased 2 of them last week.
Do it.
All right, it's the playoffs. The choose cone is out. I'm going to give you I'm going to give you a topic, and you get to choose what lane you want to take. It's the pickle lane. And since it's playoffs, non-playoff drivers seem to have been racing hard for the win the last couple of weeks. Ross Chastain has been performing very well. He was in the mix at Darlington and Richmond for the win, running in the top 5. Do you guys think that non-playoff drivers should ease off of playoff drivers when it comes to situations like that, or should they continue to run for the win and maybe run aggressively for that win?
You got to run for the win, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got sponsors on the line. You've got money on the line to win.
Yeah.
It's your career's on the line. If you're not winning, if you're not, performing, you're going to lose your job eventually. So you have got to take every opportunity you can. Unless your name is Kyle Larson, wins are few and far between in this sport.
Yeah.
So, I mean, regardless of what I think about him, look at Kevin Harvick. He hasn't won all race this year, and last year he won 9 of them. So you never know when the last one's going to be. You got to take him when you can, whether you're a playoff driver or not. You have to.
So that's kind of what I thought of as well. Hey, go out there for a win. We saw Chandler Smith in the, truck series, gets his first win, and that advances him to the next round into the playoffs. I thought about it like this, though, and I wanted to know your guys' opinion. We're all Matty D fans. We're all Ross Chastain fans. What if the 42 or the 21 was the 4 instead of Harvick? What if Chase is there? And what if that's the 42 and the exact same thing happens? Then what do you?
That is tough.
That's tough. Wow, you just posed a really, really good question.
I think it's racing. If that happens, then it's the 42. It's just racing.
I mean, we have to be consistent with it, right? Yeah. You're right. If that's Matty
D, right. I'm like, oh shit, Matty D, go for the win. Fuck Chase Elliott. I'm yelling that probably. You know what I mean? Elliott's got his win. He's the champion. I'm going, fuck Chase Elliott. Let's go, Matt. I'm rooting Matty D or Chastain on. But since it was Harvick, I had a little different, obviously, mind frame about it. So, not being, I would have loved to see Benedetto or Chastain get a first win at Bristol in the night, but it's playoffs. You're not in. What do? Do you act the same way? Do you drive as aggressive as Harvick did in that moment? Ooh, that's a little different story.
Eric, you posed a great question, buddy. Are you drinking out of the water jug?
I'm on the beers again.
Oh, wow.
All the ideas are flowing. That's the idea tank right there. That's so tough because in one hand you have a driver searching and trying to get his first win. On the other hand, you're like, well, you're messing up a playoff driver's chances at the win,
Right.
I think, and then like you could add the layer, like, oh, is that playoff driver on the cut line? Are they trying to win their way into the next? Like, there's races in. Yeah, there's races inside the races. It's man, I don't know. I think
it's tough.
I think.
But see, I think this goes back to my original thought that I said in the beginning, where this is its own entity.
Yeah,
this playoff is its own entity, and take it or leave it as you want. You know what I mean? And I think you have to also include these non-playoff drivers in this entertainment, playoff format that NASCAR has. So, man, I don't know. I don't know what I would have thought if that instead of the 4 car, that's the 21 and that happens, man. I don't know.
And then like I'm just thinking too, like I'm like, oh well, what if it happens in the beginning of the race and they kind of mess up someone's day, versus like, we have 20 to go.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it doesn't have to be the end of the race. It could be right in the beginning,
Yeah.
The track position at a place like Bristol, you're fighting for it. You stay out on old tires and
try to get a stage win.
You slide up and you get into somebody. It's tough. I think this question will always be a part of our sport when it comes to this playoff format.
Yeah. They'll be talking about this in 20 years.
Yeah, it's tough though, because when you have those little favorites, I think if it's not a De Benedetto, who is a fan favorite of the sport, I think it'll be different. But when you have a little bit of fandom towards somebody, I think it changes your opinion.
Sure.
No, I agree. Man. I feel like that's the unanswerable question. That's some philosophy shit you have to mull over for the next 40 years and never really find an answer. But I like it. I enjoy it. Kyle Larson was the big winner. Juice Cone's back out. Next topic. Kyle Larson was the big winner down in Bristol, scoring his 6th win of the season, his 12th career win. Before the season, Tony Stewart said you'd have to be crazy not to sign Kyle Larson. Obviously he was trying to get him. He's a big dirt guy himself. He liked Kyle Larson's style of racing. He wanted him at Stuart Haas Racing in that 14 car. And Ford basically, I guess, put the kibosh on him, didn't want to touch him, understandably. Do you think Tony Stewart regrets letting that happen? Do you think this is something that haunts Tony Stewart for the rest of his career?
How could it not? How could you not regret that move? Like you just said, I mean, it was, I think, it was the perfect place for Larson to land. Given the similar backgrounds with dirt racing that him and Stewart have, think about this. Tony had a really, really, controversial thing happen to him on that dirt track when that kid unfortunately passed away.
Yeah.
So Tony knows how to get over controversy and get past it. I think he could have been a great life coach to Larson during all of that. But from accounts that I've heard through Dale Jr.'s stories and whatnot, apparently Mr. Hendrick is also a really good life coach too. So
yeah.
I think he landed in a really good situation. Look what he's doing this year. But how could you not have a little bit of regret if you're Tony Stewart?
I mean, I think if you're Tony, I would have thrown everything towards the direction of Ford.
Yeah.
I would have been, Ford, listen to me. I've been around this sport. I've been a champion. I know what I'm doing. I know talent when I see it. You're going to regret this. Maybe I think Tony regrets maybe not pushing hard enough towards Ford. I think that I don't think it was as much. Tony wanted him. He came out and admitted that he tried to get him, but it was Ford that really, put their foot down. And, that stinks. I think Ford is kicking themselves now.
Yeah.
I think they wish that they went back on that. And, although, I think, look at this year. Yeah. Going into this year, if he did sign with Stuart Haas, you're like, oh my God, Harvick won 9 races. They're on top. But look at what happened to them this year. Would Larson have won 6 races? Would he be this talk of the town? Would he had this amazing comeback story? Would that have been there? I don't think it would have.
That's what was going to be my
race maybe. But I think the consistency, the dominance that he had over this regular season and now into the playoffs, man, but then again, could you look at it on the other side? Would he have made Almirola better? Would he have made Harvick better? The notes, the mind frame, would that have mattered? I would have liked to see it, to be honest with you.
That's what my second part of the question was going to be. If we did see Larson go to Stuart Haas, which has obviously struggled compared to last season, would we see the performance that we're seeing out of him? Or would it be more like, oh, he's running exactly the same as he did at Chip Ganassi? I mean, before the move, people called Kyle Larson a generational talent even before he started rattling off wins. So you could always see the talent there regardless. But does Larson
He didn't have the finishes, though. Remember what Eric was always saying?
Second place Kyle.
Earlier, yeah.
But do we see more of the same? Do we see him struggle? Do we see kind of a wasted talent at Stuart Haas Racing? Or does he elevate everybody? Like you said, Eric, does he give Almirola some pointers, even though Almirola is kind of a veteran now in his own right? Does he help Cole Custer get to the front of the pack more often? Just kind of interesting. Another one of those unanswerable questions, I guess.
Right, because then come that race we just saw, what if Almirola, he was right there, right there battling with your boy Reddick for most of the year and into the playoffs. Like, he was the driver that, you kind of had to look to, he's the guy I have to beat. And, if Larson is part of that team, I think maybe Almirola and Harvick are a little scarier, maybe not Custer as much, but I think he would have had an effect on the team for sure. Just his energy, winning, not only in the Cup, even if he wasn't winning on Sundays, I think if he still went on that run of his sprint car and his modifies, whatever he gets in and he's still winning, bringing that winning attitude and that winning culture to Stuart Haas, like he did to Hendrick, I think that helped Willie B. I think that helped Bowman out. I just think being around a winner is going to make you want to win. being around a winner is going to make you stay up late at night and read those notes and rewatch races and really go through everything that you know and you thought you were as a driver. You're questioning everything when you're around Kyle Larson. So it would have been interesting in the Ford camp.
But are they going to get anything out of him that they wouldn't have gotten out of Kevin Harvick last season? You know, I mean, you don't get a much better season than Kevin Harvick last season, you know?
Right, but I think it's different styles. I think Harvick, you know, he has that attitude where, like Matt said, I don't think he really wants to share with.
I bet you he doesn't help any of those guys out. He's all for himself.
Exactly. He hates the young guys, man.
Yeah.
The youth. He's made it known that he doesn't like the youth upcoming. So
I think that might have been a factor in it as well. So I don't think maybe like Harvick would you know, do as much for the team as a young Kyle Larson would there, for sure.
All right, the choose cone is out. It's the beginning of stage 3, the final question of the night. We saw a great race at Bristol. Some people are saying maybe it should be the season finale. What do you guys think about that?
I would love it. I think we all could agree that this is our best racetrack.
Yeah.
Multiple people in the sport have brought it up and suggested it as a possibility. I mean, you go to a football stadium, putting a temporary racetrack down. NASCAR is willing to try anything at this point.
Yeah.
So why not do that? I think it would take a little bit of schedule manipulation. I think, you know, back Matt, I think sent over, it was Dustin Long. He said that, you know, from 1970 to 1981, they started the season in January. So I think that would have to be something that would have to happen so that we could finish in October, beginning of October was beautiful there, just like it was, like we saw this past weekend. Imagine if that was the championship, Harvick versus Chase, all that stuff. That is your championship race. It would have to end now. And I think they could do that if they manipulate it.
It's September.
Oh, it is September.
It feels like October. Right?
You had me thinking though for a second, like, wait, is it?
Do I work? I'm already a month ahead with my stuff. Sometimes I get a little thrown off.
I get thrown off too, man.
Yeah.
You had me guessing, like, wait, is it October?
But I would love it. Honest to God, I think it would. Obviously, we saw what happened. And if that was for the championship, like, man, would that get people tuned in and eyeballs glued to a TV?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I know when we were actually talking about it in our group chat, you know, I think the only hurdle that we would have to look at is potentially some weather. Whitey made some good points with it being a little colder.
It's cold in Tennessee in November.
And then I rebutted with, dress appropriately. It's not going to be so cold where it's unraceable. You know, it just might be a little uncomfortable for the fans where you can bulk up and watch a race.
NASCAR doesn't give a fuck about the fans and the attendance there.
They don't.
They care about TV deals and the TV times and TV rules. So as long as they could race and the racing could go down, I think they should at least give it a shot. They could give two shits who's there in the stands. It's all about TV money.
Yeah.
I don't think it should be the finale. I think it's too late. I mean, maybe if you could do the schedule where, like, the season ends at the end of September or beginning of October. But November, I think, is just too late. The lows get down to like 39 degrees, 36 degrees at night. And not even thinking about the fans because, like, fans will show up in the cold in Green Bay when it's 10 degrees. Like, fans will show up if they want to show up. I'm just wondering what would happen with the track conditions and the cars. Like, we don't run that cold. Like, they'd have to tape them up like crazy. I wonder what would happen in those temperatures, you know?
I think what you're saying, Whitey, let me know if I'm wrong here, but I think the point you're trying to make is what we saw this
Do we see that in the cold?
We see that again in those conditions. Yeah, that is a question that I don't know.
Think about this too, is if they did start it earlier, let's say, late January, if they started it 3-4 weeks earlier than they do now, which is mid-February, then the season's obviously ending, early to mid-October,
Yeah.
we're not getting as far into the football season too. If NASCAR is super concerned, I mean, which of course they are about ratings and stuff,
well,
you'll see these ratings on these Sunday races. They're going to start going down because football's back.
Well, here's the thing though. Would you rather start your season in the middle of the NFL playoffs? You know, like who's switching over during the NFL playoffs?
Yeah, you're right.
You have college
I didn't even think
bowl
about
games.
that on the back end of the football season. I didn't even think about the year. Absolutely right.
I mean,
like you said, Matt, I think in our group message, I think you said like the only way that would ever get solved is shortening the season.
Like
and
physically,
and it's never going to happen.
Yeah.
Take 9-10 races out. But like you said, the TV deals and all that stuff would
never
never
have to take 9 or 10 races out. Just take 6, or run some double headers and just run maybe 2 or 3 race tracks. You run double headers. That shortens up the season. That tightens it up.
See,
and then
then people are losing races at their tracks too, though.
Yeah, so you're not going to make everyone happy no matter what.
The schedule doesn't get as diverse as it is now either. You know what I mean? So, but it is a possibility.
Yeah.
Like I think, what we saw this past weekend, it's good enough for me for now. Like, if anything, I think we said it last week, Whitey, bring it to Vegas, bring it back down the south.
I would like to see it at Vegas, but you know what? Bring it back to Miami, Will Smith style. Come on.
I just thought of the wild card that we didn't even think about though for Bristol.
What's that?
Is what did Marcus Smith bring up way earlier in the season about what he wants to do with Bristol in the future?
Oh, they want to put a dome on it.
Put a whatever a tented roof over it.
I mean, I guess you could do that. Yeah,
and then run heat in there if you need to, if it's that cold.
That's true. I mean, I guess there's ways to do anything really. If they're gonna build a short track in the Coliseum,
and NASCAR is doing it. They're going all in on all these wild, crazy ideas. If there's
here's the thing, though.
For Christ's sakes, they're building a racetrack
in the Coliseum.
LA Coliseum, so anything's possible.
Here's the thing. I was just going to bring it up, though. Apparently, that deal's been in the works for like 3 or 4 years, just figuring out to see if it was even possible. I mean,
I didn't know that.
I mean,
that's good though that they've at least given it time to think about all the pros and cons of doing it then.
Yeah. I mean, is Bristol as the finale out of the question? Absolutely not. Do we have better options like Miami? I mean, I think so. I mean, I love Bristol. I think I would prefer it as a cutoff race, honestly, because it is such a wild card. Bring us back to 1.5 miles for the finale. Get us either to Vegas or Homestead Miami Speedway.
Yeah, I think if we don't get Bristol as the championship, and they're messing around with these short tracks.
Should be the round of 8 cutoff.
I would like to see a championship switch from 1.5 miles to a short track.
Well, Auto Club Speedway is becoming a short track.
You do that in California, 2023. Right.
So, like, we've been running, Miami. We did the Phoenix thing. And, like, I would love to see it go to a true Bristol short track race for the championship because, man, I don't know about you guys. Like, I am still, like that race.
Oh yeah, like it was fantastic.
It was absolutely phenomenal. And like, Matt, you and I were there, not this time, but back in 2016. And it is just, we all have to get back there.
But wait a second though. But they run Martinsville the second to last race of the season. That's only a week shorter than what the championship would be, and Martinsville is more north than Bristol, so I think they'd be okay.
I don't know.
I think
I don't know.
And the week, to be honest with you, you have, let's say you have hot weeks towards the end of the summer, even here in Pennsylvania, it's been hot these last couple of days. And it's like, you get that cool night where you think fall's, it's here. It's, it's around to stay. And the next thing you know, it's the humidity's back up to 100 and it's 85 out again. You're like, come on. I would like to see it go to a short
I think we can all agree on one thing though, and that's get the championship the hell out of Phoenix.
Yeah, absolutely awful in Phoenix. Yeah. I apologize to the people of Arizona, but I don't.
No,
oh yeah, they threw you guys in beer jail. Never mind. Fuck them.
Yep.
All right. So that's the pick a lane segment. The choose cones going back in the tool shed, and we're busting out the preview next week. We're done talking about the past. Let's move on to the future. Friday night, trucks are gonna be in Las Vegas for the Victoria's Voice Foundation 200, presented by Westgate Resorts, 9 p.m. on FS1. Then Saturday night, the Xfinity Series is on track for the Alsco Uniform 302, 7:30 on NBCSN. And then Sunday night, it's a late one, 7 p.m. on NBCSN. It's the South Point 400. And your top 10, according to Bob Pockrass's math, will be Kyle Larson and Ryan Blaney starting 1 and 2. William Byron, Martin Truex are on row 2. Kevin Harvick and Denny Hamlin, row 3. Row 4 is Bowman and Keselowski. And rounding out the top 10 in 9th, Joey Logano, and starting in 10th, 1, Kyle Busch. Rounding out our picks from last week, Matt came in last. He picked Kyle Busch. He got him 21 points. I came in second with 26 points. I chose Joey Logano at Bristol, and he was looking promising. I'm not sure exactly what happened at the end, but he fell off pretty hard. And Martin Truex Jr. got Eric 32 points. He was the big winner when it came to our picks. So he will be going last. I will be going second, and Matt will be going first. But before we do, Matt, give us the stats that matter. Tell us what we need to know to win some money in Vegas.
We are going back out to Vegas. As I always do, I give you guys the stats for the last 4 races that they raced there. So the most important stat, the stat that matters, is wins. Going back 4 races, Martin Truex Jr. won the 2019 playoff race out there. Logano won the 20 spring race there. Kurt Busch won the 20 playoff race there. And Larson, like I mentioned earlier, won earlier this year in March when they raced out in Vegas. Laps led out of the top 3, you have Chase Elliott with 177 laps led, Denny with 171 laps led, and then Logano with 167. Ooh. And then our favorite stat, the top 5 most points accrued. Martin Truex Jr., he seems to like Vegas. He has 164 points in the last 4 races out there. Blaney with 163. So right behind Martin Truex Jr. That was a little surprising to me. Actually, what you'll hear here is that it looks like Penske likes Vegas. In third there, Logano, 161 points accrued, Harvick with 147, and then Keselowski rounds out that top 5 in points accrued with 142. So Penske might be a favorite. I mean, I know they've had their struggles this year so far, but they run really, really good here.
That's interesting. I do remember Ryan Blaney running pretty exceptionally well in the past here. He just could never make it happen.
Yeah, and then this race last year is when we had the duel with the brothers with Kyle and Kurt going at it on their home track. That was
great to watch.
Yeah, it was. So, like I said, I think Penske is a heavy favorite here, or should be. All of them should be up there. And it is my pick, so I am going to not pick anyone from Penske. I'm going with Kyle Larson. He's going to do a back-to-back win.
Yeah, if you didn't pick him, I was going to. So I think I will pick somebody from Penske. And, well, I picked him last week. I thought Joey Logano would get it done. Like we said, Joey Logano, he gets quiet for a while, and then he sneaks one out.
Yeah.
And I hate to pick him again 2 weeks in a row, but I got to pick Joey Logano for this one. I think he's going to squeeze one out.
Oh. I had him down as my number 1 pick, and he's still there.
Oh.
Ryan Blaney.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I think I've been hot on him. He's been on a hot streak coming into the playoffs, rattling off those wins. Consistent. Nobody talks about him. He just gets the job done. Even at Bristol, running up there, had the lead, managed his car well, didn't overdrive his car. He brought it home where it should have been brought home instead of getting too aggressive and possibly wrecking out. So, I think Ryan Blaney's going to get it done and advance himself on.
I think we got 3 solid picks there for Vegas. I was going to pick Blaney if it wasn't for Logano, but I'm like, you want to what? I don't know about Blaney. I'm not sure.
Logano scares me. Like we've said in the past, like
especially,
he is one of those guys that could just come out and win.
Especially right now, he is he's -1 point on the cut line there. So he's right on the cut line. He's looking for a good day in Vegas to build himself up a buffer. So I think he could do it. We'll see what happens. To review the playoff picture, Michael McDowell, Kurt Busch, Eric Almirola, and Tyler Reddick are all out of the playoffs. Your round of 12, starting in 12th, Kevin Harvick, -13 points. In 11th, Christopher Bell is -9 points. In 10th, Brad Keselowski, one of those Penske drivers. We'll see what he could do. He is -6 points. 9th is right below the cut line, Joey Logano, 1 point out of the playoffs right now. Can he make a comeback in Las Vegas and win himself into the round of 8? We will see. William Byron, 1 point to the good, sitting in 8th place right now. Alex Bowman, his teammate, 2 points to the good. Their teammate, Chase Elliott, only 8 points to the good. Man, Team Hendrick running really close right now besides Kyle Larson. Kyle Busch, the other Kyle. Do you think Kyle Busch is upset that the Kyle that everyone's talking about this year is Larson and not him? Do you think he feels like a little left out of the picture anymore? Back when you talk about Kyle, it was Kyle Busch. Now you talk about Kyle, it's Kyle Larson.
Yeah, well, go win.
Well, he's going to be trying to do it in his home state of Las Vegas. He is currently 5th in the playoff picture, 9 points to the good. Will Eric's pick, sitting in 4th, Ryan Blaney, get the win in Vegas. He is 11 points to the good. Denny Hamlin in 3rd, also 11 points to good. Martin Truex Jr., 16 points to the good. And Kyle Larson built himself up a nice playoff buffer. He is sitting 40. Not that big, but he's sitting 46 points
with
to
the
the
round
good.
That has Talladega and the Roval in it.
Yep.
That's true. But you want to what? A win in Vegas and you're in. Will Matt's pick get it? Will he advance himself to the round of 8 this weekend? We will see. Will it be Joey Logano? Will it be Kyle Larson? Will it be Kyle Busch? No, sorry. Oh my God. I'm reading the picks from last week. Will it be Joey Logano? Will it be Ryan Blaney, or will it be Kyle Larson? We will find out this weekend, Sunday night, under the lights in Vegas. Actually, I don't know. What time does the sun go down in Vegas?
I think the end of the race will be dark.
We'll be under the lights at the end of the race in Vegas, the South Point 400 on NBCSN. For Matt, the Stat Man Reilly, for Eric Daytona Ron, I'm Michael D. White saying have a good night. We'll break it all down for you next week.